So in the Mirror, there's a story with a headline. It's actually front page, "Now Make Them Pay." And this comes out of the weekend interview with a guy who was axed as the chairman, right? His name was Henry Staunton. And the government's gone absolutely ballistic, Richard, on this.
Yeah, this is extraordinary. A sort of he said, she said scenario where the government, Kemi Badenoch, fired the chairman of the post office because basically they said that he was underperforming in terms of the payouts of the compensation. And he believes that his reputation's been smeared, and so he went to the Sunday Times, gave a full-blown interview, and the government... Kemi Badenoch she has really lost it over it. There's going to be a government statement today, but they're threatening to sue him over what the government says are complete lies in this interview. It's hard to know who's right and who's wrong.
I was just sitting on my sofa last night. We'll come to the Mirror story, because that's a bit second level, this, because actually what happened yesterday was an interview with this guy in the Sunday Times where he dished the dirt on the government because he's got the sack. And I knew nothing about it until last night, sitting on my sofa, and I see these tweets by Kemi Badenoch, who is the business secretary, and she's going crazy about it. The Henry Staunton Sunday Times interview is a disgraceful misrepresentation of my conversation with him and the reasons for his sacking. It was all explained to the journalist who chose to ignore the facts. I don't know if we got any more of it, but it just goes on and on. Here we go. He had a lack of grip getting justice for postmasters. The serious concerns over his conduct were why I asked him to step down. That he chose to run to the media with made-up anecdotes and a series of falsehoods, and then later on she uses the word lying. I'm kind of amazed.
Well, I was just going to say, I know the Sunday Times, before publishing, would have put it through their lawyers, right? They'd be extraordinarily concerned about making these allegations if there was no basis for them. So I'll say that.
Well, there's a very serious allegation, which is that he is claiming, the former chairman of the Post Office is claiming that a senior civil servant told him to delay the payout of the compensation until after the general election so it didn't make the government figures look bad. I mean, that is a very serious allegation.
True,
if there's any truth to that.
Yeah.
But look, the bottom line of all of this is that this government has been woefully slow at sorting out this absolute horrific scandal of the Post Office submasters. The compensation should have been paid on an interim basis immediately. They still haven't been. Their convictions had them overturned. Yeah. And there's no talk about suing the company responsible.
This guy was the head of a big company, wasn't it? What was it before this? It was Henry Staunton. I think it might be W.H. Smith. OK, so he was basically told, can you help sort out the post office because it's in a hell of a state? This was after the whole thing. He was not responsible for it. He went in to try and help with the compensation. His idea was give everyone £1 million and do it quickly, right? Which probably most people think is the right sort of ballpark figure. Yeah. He then leaves. He used this phrase. He said that the government told him, limp on, don't pay. So we limp on to the election, right? And there we've got another page of the Mirror. And the Mirror's saying, look, this all shows we need to pay now. So I'm quite impressed with this character. He's gone back to his retirement in Cornwall. He's not got any axe to grind. No. They fired him to get a scapegoat. I'm just amazed at the tweets from... I suppose when governments fall apart, this is what you get.
But the real question is actually, did the ministers know what was being said to them? And they might have done or they might not.
Gemma, you've got a story about...